Alright guys, Battlefield 6 is almost here, but Dell says supporting Xbox Series S was a challenge, but similar to PC targets. Now, according to the game's technical director, the biggest challenge wasn't the CPU or the GPU, it was the memory for Xbox Series S. And that limitation is the reason Battlefield 6 looks and runs very differently on Series S compared to Series X and PS5 along with PC. Now, the Xbox Series S ships with 10 GB of memory, and not all of it is fast. 2 of those gigs are basically slow memory reserved for background tasks, leaving developers with a much tighter space to work with compared to the Xbox Series X and PS5, which both have 16 gigs and a much higher bandwidth. Honestly, the best way to picture it is like a backpack. The bigger console walks into the battle with the huge fast backpack, while the Series S shows up with smaller ones and a slow slide pocket. For a game like Battlefield, which has massive maps, destructible environments, vehicles, and 128 players on screen, that extra backpack space really matters. Now because of this, Battlefield 6 performance on Series S is likely 1080p at 60 frames per second. Now because of this, the in-game texture are bluer, effects are toned down, and drawing distances aren't as sharp. Meanwhile on Series X and PS5 and PC, you like the high resolution, sharper texture, and maybe even 120Hz option. On PC, each scale is dependent on your rig. For example, if you got a low-end PC, then it's going to perform like a Series S, or if you got a high-end PC, it's going to perform like a Series X. Now, developers also say supporting the Series S feels like targeting the minimum specs on PC. It's doable, but it requires more optimization. Now, personally, in my opinion, having the Series X is both a blessing and a curse. It makes next-gen games cheaper and more accessible, which is huge for growing communities in multiplayer games like Battlefield. But at the same time, its memory limitations do hold developers back. Also guys, what do you think? Is the Series S helping gaming by keeping it affordable, or is it holding back titles like Battlefield 6? Now for our next topic, Battlefield 6 has found a way to approach locked versus open class weapons. Now here it states, after early tests revealed that the game will have open classes that share weapon arsenals, many players call for a return to locked classes as part of past entries in the series. In the interview, the developer explained his approach and promised that the game modes featuring both types of classes would be in the game. Now, in a new interview, the developer explained his approach and promised that the game modes featuring both types of classes would be in the game. Now, in an interview with IGN, Ripple Effect console combat designer Matthew Nicholson shared that his developer goal is to be as agnostic as possible to choices such as the open and locked classes. Now, Nicholson also states, "We don't really want to make a decision or really pigeonhole how you want to experience Battlefield." Now for his last statement, he says, "I know we're supporting both open and closed weapon sets and portal in different game modes. We want to support both open and locked classes moving forward. And again, a key message for Battlefield 6 is play Battlefield how you want to play. So we make sure we support both open and closed systems." Now for years, Battlefield has leaned heavily on the class systems. Fans of titles like Battlefield, Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3, Hardline, and so on. As you can remember, each class not only has its new gadgets and abilities, but also distinct weapon pools. For example, assault rifles were locked to assault classes, LMGs to support, sniper rifles to recon, and so on. Their system forced teamwork and gave it to the class an identity, which many fans kind of argue is part of what made Battlefield feel different from Call of Duty and other shooters. But more recently, in my opinion, the series has drifted towards open class systems where players can mix and match weapons freely, as has been controversial. On one hand, it gives people more freedom to build their own loadouts. On the other, it dilutes class identity and reduces the need for a true squad synergy, in my opinion. Now, Battlefield 6 seems to be a walking middle ground, according to the console combat designer Matthew Nicholson. He wants to be agnostic towards the choices. In other words, he don't want to force players into one approach. Now we know Battlefield 6 will have modes where classes are locked with specific weapon sets, and others where weapon choices is open. Portal mode in particular will support both systems, which lets players craft their own rule sets. They play Battlefield how you want to play. Mantra is a smart move. It means players who love the traditional locked class structure can still experience that old school identity, while players who prefer customization can do their own thing. Now also I noticed something, and I can't be the only one to notice this, but during the open beta, only one mode with locked classes was available, and it was tucked away. They raised the question of how seriously the devs are prioritizing the option at launch. Are locked classes going to be a central balanced part of the game, or is it another afterthought for nostalgia's sake? Now personally, in my opinion, I think often both is the right call. But Battlefield identity has always been about large-scale warfare and squad cohesion. So if everything becomes too open, it risks turning into just another shooter without the teamwork. Alright guys, we got some more Battlefield 6 news. Battlefield Studios is doubling down on the gritty, grounded, and realistic cosmetics for Battlefield 6. They're deliberately avoiding the wacky, over-the-top skins that Call of Duty, Fortnite, and other games are known for. Technical director Christian Bull and senior console combat designer Matthew Nicholson made it clear that the studio isn't trying to chase trends or copy other games. Now, Bull emphasized that while games like Fortnite can do silly cosmetics really well, Battlefield wants to stay true to its identity. It's common that this approach will hold for a while has sparked fan speculation that the game might eventually introduce more unusual skins, but nothing official has been confirmed yet. Now, Nicholson also noted that Battlefield 16 is where the competitive landscape and watches other games, but their main focus is what works with Battlefield, specifically. Now, he also represents kind of skins players can expect in the Battlefield 2042 event, Road to Battlefield 6. Now, in my opinion, I think this is actually a solid approach. It makes a lot of sense. Battlefield has always been known for large-scale immersive battles where realism and atmosphere matter. Now, over-the-top skins like from Fortnite can feel out of place in the context, even if they're popular in games like Fortnite and Call of Duty. And honestly, think about it. For a game like Battlefield, having a skin like Nicki Minaj or Snoop Dogg would not even make sense at all. I mean, yeah, sure, Call of Duty has Nicki Minaj skins, Snoop Dogg skins, 21 Savage skins, laser guns, all the other stuff. But think about it. Do they really need that? And also another thing, Battlefield not going with the custom goofy skins makes it stand out from the competitors. Now, from a business/marketing standpoint, following trends can attract attention in the short term, but maintaining a distinct brand identity builds long-term loyalty. Now, another thing that makes Battlefield stand out is its destruction system. And Battlefield 6 continues that tradition. The game uses the same destruction mechanics for both multiplayer and Battle Royale, which means players can now blow up environments in both modes, but there's a catch. According to producer David Sirlin, you can't smash everything indiscriminately. While it's satisfying to protect the walls and buildings, not everything is built to break. And also the type of material also matters. Wooden houses crumble differently than strong structures, and the Aftermath Rumble is designed so the structure remains breathable and tactical. To me, this adds a layer of strategy, like do you destroy the wall to flank an enemy, or leave it intact to maintain cover? Now the pros here are clear. Destruction is tactical, immersive, and visually satisfying, and it applies across all modes, so players have a consistent experience. Now as for the cons, you can't go full on god mode smashing everything. Regular destruction can backfire and hurt your team, especially in the competitive modes. Guys, in the comment section below, let me know your favorite feature about Battlefield. Is it destruction? Is it the open class, lock class? Let me know. I'd love to hear it.